Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Hope you enjoy today's practice. Or, I think that's not the right way to say it. I hope you get something out of today's practice. I think that's something that, last time we did mindfulness of emotions, and I think one of the learnings from this is that emotions aren't always pleasant, and uh, can we lean into the difficulty and the challenge and the unpleasantness that sometimes we experience in our emotions? And today's topic is about stillness. And one thing that we did chat about last time as well is the triangle: the body, the mind, the emotions. That these three things are all interconnected, and that something happens in one of them that it affects all of the others. And you can see that clearly as we do our practice today on stillness. And so one of the things that becomes apparent in physical stillness is that as you are physically still, as you determine to be physically still, you'll find what starts to happen. And in today's practice, I would really encourage you. I'll start at the 10-minute mark. We'll end at the 25-minute mark. And as most of you know, I'm usually a little bit late. We'll end up having about a 13-minute meditation. You can sit still for 13 minutes. Okay, despite whatever preconceptions you have about yourself, I think that maybe there are a few people who are on here who might have some physical limitation that is going to make it not possible. But for all of the rest of us, even or especially those of us who tell ourselves a story, I'm not the kind of person that can sit still. I'm a fidgety person. You can do it. And I'm a testament to tell you that you can do it, because I certainly can recall back to my first time doing the body scan and doing other meditations, but the body scan in particular, because this was the first meditation that I did. And I remember thinking, I have to lie here completely still for 45 minutes. Like, how am I going to do it? And so first, I didn't. It wasn't possible for me in the beginning. I found that there were like twitches. I moved my fingers. I moved my toes. There was something, some kind of like itchiness that made me not be able to sit still. And that's okay. And I think one of the important parts here as well is to observe what's happening in the mind and the emotions. Okay, and just to finish off that story a little bit, the more I practiced, and when I was a student of MBSR, I was practicing body scan every single day, and the more that I practiced, the easier it got to lie still, and it is a meditation that I would do lying, and so I would end up being able to lie still. Bring your attention to your toes without moving them. I'm able eventually to do that. That even though bringing attention to toes was something that was kind of made my toes want to twitch, and maybe in the beginning that's what happened. But over time, seeing that through practice and through a lot of practice, eventually that stillness came. And something else that happens is that as we're doing more practice, you'll find that just like doing some kind of physical exercise, that your body begins to adapt. So as we're going to do a seated practice today, would encourage you, even right now, to start to bring that intention to be still. And if you hear that voice inside your head that says, I'm not a person who can sit still, I can't do it, do your best to ignore that voice and try your best. Determine today, set that intention. I'm going to sit in stillness today and see what comes up. As we sit in stillness, sometimes the opposite happens in our minds. We end up having a thunderstorm of thoughts and a torrent of emotions as we do our best to sit still. And so see if that's what happens, this kind of dichotomy. However, over time, you might start to notice that connection. That stillness in the body begins to lead to a stillness in the mind, and a kind of inner calm that you might not even know that you have access to. And I think today, and in today's society, it's so easy to fly off the handle. It's kind of like that's what we're used to happening. That's what we see happening everywhere in media and in other places, in politics. People reacting with strong emotion and reacting instantly. And this is evident of a lack of inner stillness. That when we have that inner stillness, there's that ability to pause, to see what's really going on here. Maybe most importantly, what's going on inside of me in this situation, and why is there this desire to react externally? We use this word trigger sometimes. The truth is that you are in control of you, just like our mountain meditation. It doesn't matter if people come and visit the mountain. It doesn't matter if there are winds and rains. All kinds of external circumstances affect the mountain, but the mountain sits there. The mountain sits in stillness and is able to just be as it is, its large, massive, beautiful, majestic self. And as we learn to sit, we can be more at peace with what's going on. And is it possible for us to be aware of these emotions without reacting, even when we find that there's an injustice? The way to make a difference in whatever it is that you're trying to make a difference isn't by letting your emotions take complete control over you. It is, in fact, the opposite. It is that calmness, that stillness, the patience, being aware of the emotions, trying our best to stay centered, stay peaceful, and then have a conversation from that point of view that can really have the most effectiveness. Being calm, cool, collected. And this is what inner stillness is about. So today's practice is that, and so I'm going to encourage you to choose a posture today, and we'll settle into the posture in the beginning. I'm going to give you some instructions here shortly, and once we're in the posture, is it possible for you to stay locked in that posture? Maybe I feel numbness in my foot or in my knee. Is it possible to be aware of that numbness without going, hey, I want to shift it? Because, hey, you're not doing any damage to your body. In 15 minutes, there's no way that you can, by sitting still, hurt yourself. So be aware. And one other thing before we get into it, and I know I've hit 10 minutes now, is just like feeling negative emotions. How is it that we react to negative emotions? What is it that we observe happening inside of ourselves when we feel emotional pain? And so as we sit, especially as we sit for longer periods of time, the physical pain starts to come, especially as we sit in stillness. Is it possible to observe the discomfort that we're feeling without having to do something about it? To observe it and to sit with it and to see how our minds, how our emotions react to bodily unpleasantness. And so this really is a part of the activity of sitting in stillness. And you'll find that your reaction to physical discomfort and your reaction to emotional discomfort are certainly linked. So let's give it a try today. Welcome, everybody. Get into a comfortable posture. And so the key here to our meditation posture is finding one that is of relaxation and alertness. So simultaneously being alert and relaxed. The posture that I find is, one of the keys to this posture is can you find a way to have your hips slightly higher than your knees? And this allows this natural curvature in the lumbar spine so that we can sit up straight. so that we're from the torso all the way up is just as if we're standing. And so I'm taking my left hand and putting it here in the small of my back and feeling that curvature is there. And so this can really help and be sustainable. What you may tend to do if you don't have that is to slouch forward, which it will cause a bit more physical pain, also lack of alertness. So see if you can sit up straight, spine straight, crown of the head towards the ceiling, chin is roughly parallel to the floor. Shoulders relaxed. You can roll your shoulders a few times just to help aid in relaxation. Move your head around a few times if you like. Help to loosen up the neck. And then let's come back to that crown of the head towards the ceiling, chin parallel to the floor. Eyes either closed or having a soft gaze. Just letting the eyes relax. Letting the face relax as best you can, in the eyebrows, in the temples, the muscles around the eyes, the jaw, intentionally parting the bottom teeth from the top to keep ourselves from clenching our teeth, closing the lips, breathing through the nostrils if you can. With your legs, you can be kneeling, you can be sitting cross-legged. If you're sitting on a chair, bringing your back away from the backrest, letting your feet touch flat on the floor. And so, any final movements you want to get out, go ahead and do those. So now let's begin to concentrate on stillness. Notice the position of your hands. Notice the sensations in your back. So connecting with this strong will and determination to stay focused, to stay concentrated, to stay still. And sometimes in this desire to stay still, tension rises. See if you can, as you sit up straight, as you stay determined, allow the body to relax. Become aware of the supporting surface touching the body. Where are your feet contacting the floor? Where is the cushion or chair touching the buttocks? And now, noticing that you're breathing. Finding the breath. Where do signs of the breath show up in the body? The abdomen, the chest, the nostrils. Maybe you can also feel changing in pressure in the lower back. So taking that awareness dial and turning it all the way up to notice all of the fine, minute, detailed sensations that you're experiencing in your body. And if you're focused on the breath, can you expand your awareness to the body as a whole? After all, remaining still does require some kind of awareness of the body. Noticing the position of the feet, position of the lower legs, the knees, the thighs, feelings in the pelvis, the lower back, the upper back, the abdomen, the chest, the heart beating in the chest. Can you feel it? The hands, the arms, the shoulders, the neck, the face, the head. Like this open awareness practice that we've been doing in the past few weeks, this stillness shares in that bodily awareness. Fully awake, fully alive, yet fully relaxed. Determined, alert, focused, concentrated, yet fully relaxed. Difficult sensations may come. Is it possible to use your awareness to notice them? And stay still. So sometimes one of the other components with stillness comes silence. So I'll spend the remainder of today's practice in silence. I'll let you know at the ending that we'll be closing with the bell. Now I'll close practice with 3 rings of the bell. All right. Well done. How'd it go? Were you able to remain still? And what happened? Did inner stillness come, or was there a torrent of thoughts? Did your teeth grit? What happened? Tell us all about it in the chat. Okay. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting, I suppose I'm used to stillness now. It's just become part of the fact of my practice. That through practice, that physical stillness is something that comes a lot more naturally now. Certainly, a person who's been a super fidgety person, just remember I'm kind of like the guy who clicks the pen over and over again in the meeting that drives you crazy. You know, that was me. And the shaking of I kind of would shake one leg a lot. I think mindfulness has helped a lot in all of that. And Maya says, had to move my leg. Valentina said, I had a very hard time being still. I think a lot. It's a good practice. Thanks for sharing. And it is a hard practice. But I really recommend it. I'd say if you can, try to do all of your meditations in stillness. The one thing I didn't mention is that kind of voluntary thought that goes along with movement. That you can't move. Well, some movements come involuntarily, but that kind of like there's discomfort here. I'm going to move, or before moves come, we know about it, right? That shows up, and there's that kind of voluntary engagement with that. And so, is it possible to choose not to engage in it, just like we choose when to speak, when not to speak? So a lot of this is about. It's a very, again, practicing mindfulness, sitting here in practice. I mean, this is the safe space. So if we get good at controlling ourselves, controlling our physical movements, we can also control the physical movement of our lips and our tongues and not say some of the things that are harmful, that we know aren't, that we, through evaluation, through mindfulness, go, hey, this isn't going to help the situation. Right? How many times, and sometimes even with awareness, this isn't going to help the situation, but we say it anyway. I think that practice with patience, with controlling movement, allows us to control a lot more movement and know when to be silent, and to be silent more often. There is space to say what you need to say. Is it possible to take an extra 1 second to notice what it is that's going on before we speak, to really understand, is what I'm saying wise and compassionate? Is this going to help the situation, or is this going to make the situation worse? What is the best thing for me to do, if anything at all? Dirk says, body became heavier and heavier, complete silence inside and around. Nice experience. Thanks, Dirk, for sharing. Sybil says, my mind started to visualize my body in stillness. I felt every tingle. My posture wanted to slouch. Body seemed to automatically to adjust slightly. My mind kept talking about staying still. Mostly, I was still. Thanks, Sybil, for sharing. Cece says, still move off and on, but much better than restlessness and fightiness when I started practicing this. Thanks, Cece, for sharing. And that's how it goes, right? I mean, this is neuroplasticity. We're changing the circuitry of our minds, of our brains. That's the physical thing. We're changing the circuitry of our brains as we practice. And so don't be hard on yourself, or do your best not to be hard on yourself. When I say don't be hard on yourself, then you're hard on yourself for being hard on yourself. Uh, do your best not to be hard on yourself. As me too, when I started practicing, the stillness was elusive. It was far away, but actually not that far away. It only took a few weeks of daily practice. And granted, I was practicing 45 minutes a day at that time. A few weeks of that, and the stillness just kind of came on its own. Let's see. We've got... So Tuesday is, I think I'm leading, I haven't scheduled it yet. So certainly on this coming Saturday, there's a hour-long practice. We'll be doing open awareness, and we will be doing open awareness starting with body, but spending more time on the really open part, where we're open to sounds, we're open to thoughts, we're open to everything. That's coming up on Saturday. I haven't scheduled a meditation on Tuesday. I'm leaving for Thailand on Tuesday night, or Tuesday late afternoon, and I'm just kind of debating, do I have the space to lead another practice here on Insight Timer, or maybe I should instead really be focusing on resting and getting ready for the retreat. So that's my annual meditation, my annual silent retreat for myself. Again, I lead retreats, but this isn't one of them. This is one that I'll be sitting as a participant. So each year I try to do at least a week-long retreat to get centered, to remind myself what's going on. I find retreat experience is very different from daily practice. So looking forward to that. I'm heading to Suan Mok, a monastery in kind of southern-ish Thailand. And so I'm heading to Bangkok on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday morning I fly down to southern Thailand. So mixed feelings. Retreats are never easy. I really haven't had an easy retreat. So being in silence for 11 days and really going inwards and hopefully I'll get something really good out of that. Thank you, Karen, for your donation. And thanks everybody for being here. You can support me by you can donate. That's one great way. Another is that you can listen to my premium tracks. I have a few premium tracks on Insight Timer. Listen to those. The more you listen, the more help that gets for me. You can join Ryan's Daily Mindfulness Circle, be active in that group. Please follow me. The more followers I have, the more exposure I can get on Insight Timer as well. And I am really dedicated to these practices. And I think that I try to be kind of the alternative to some of the other things that are on Insight Timer. Mindfulness is the one type of meditation that has research to show the efficacy of this practice. And so you can see through all of the research around mindfulness. Mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in the present moment non-judgmentally. Most of the research has been done before and after mindfulness-based stress reduction. And that's really where that definition comes from. As the founder of MBSR, Jon Kabat-Zinn, defines mindfulness by paying attention on purpose in the present moment non-judgmentally. Sometimes that's pleasant, sometimes that's unpleasant. And I do find a lot of what shows up on Insight Timer is running away from the unpleasant. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unpleasant is part of life. And the more we get used to engaging, being with the unpleasant instead of escaping it or pushing it away, the more power we'll have over our own lives. Thank you, Rachel, for your donation. All right. I'll see you on Saturday. Have a great one until then. And keep practicing. Please keep it up. You will see the results patiently and persistently, and you are bound to be successful. You're bound to be successful. Thanks, Sybil, for saying that. Okay, let's close our practice with a way that we need to remember to practice compassion. So let us also make this part of our practice. It can be short, it can be long. Let's just do the short version today. May I be happy and peaceful. Hey, everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all human beings and all sentient life around the universe be happy and peaceful. All right, well done. See you Saturday. Bye-bye.